Before you watch this video, stop scrolling. Because what happened in this match wasn't just another World Cup upset. It may have been the exact moment world football changed forever. And I know that's a huge statement, but by the end of this video, you'll understand why millions of fans around the world are asking the same question. Has Erling Haaland officially become the most feared player in football? Before we begin, I want you to do one thing. Go down to the comments right now and answer honestly. Who is the best player in the world today? Haaland, Mbappe, Vinicius, or someone else? I genuinely want to know because after this game, that debate has exploded everywhere. And if you're Brazilian, don't leave this video. Because there's one moment in this match that almost nobody is talking about. One moment that changed everything. It wasn't the first goal, it wasn't the second goal, it happened much earlier. And once you notice it, you can't unsee it. Stay until the end because I'm going to show you exactly when Brazil stopped believing they could win. For decades, Brazil represented something bigger than football. 5 World Cups, legends that inspired generations. Pelé, Ronaldo, Ronaldinho, Kaká, Neymar. Every tournament felt like Brazil was destined to make history again. Even when they struggled, people still feared that yellow shirt. Because Brazil wasn't just another national team, it was football royalty. Coming into this World Cup, many analysts believe this was finally the tournament where Brazil would remind everyone why they are considered the biggest nation in football history. The squad looked dangerous. The attack looked explosive. The expectations couldn't have been higher. Across television, across social media, across football shows around the world, the conversation was almost identical. Brazil were one of the favorites to win the World Cup. Norway? Most people saw them as an exciting underdog, a talented team, but not a serious title contender. And that's exactly where everyone made their first mistake. Because they weren't preparing for Norway. They were preparing for Erling Haaland, a player who doesn't need 10 chances, a player who doesn't need to dominate possession, a player who doesn't need beautiful football. He only needs one mistake, one moment, one opportunity. And once you give it to him, the match can be over before you even realize what happened. That is what makes him different. He's not simply a striker. He's a problem that defenders struggle to solve. As the players walked onto the pitch, something immediately stood out. Brazil looked confident, comfortable, almost relaxed. Meanwhile, Haaland looked completely emotionless. No smile, no celebration, no attempt to intimidate anyone. Just complete focus. Like someone who had already seen the ending before the movie even started. The stadium was electric. Millions were watching around the world. Brazilian fans expected another famous World Cup night. Norwegian fans dreamed of making history. But nobody knew they were about to witness one of the biggest turning points of the entire tournament. The opening minutes seemed to confirm what everyone expected. Brazil controlled possession. Their midfield moved the ball beautifully. The crowd roared every time they attacked. Commentators praised Brazil's quality. Everything looked normal. But football isn't always decided by who has the ball. Sometimes, it's decided by who controls fear. And that's exactly what Haaland was doing. Every single time Norway recovered possession, Brazil's entire defensive line reacted differently. Defenders stopped stepping forward. Midfielders began tracking back faster. Fullbacks hesitated before joining the attack. Without touching the ball very often, Haaland had already started changing Brazil's behavior. That's something statistics never show. You won't find it in possession numbers. You won't find it in passing accuracy. But every elite defender understands it. Sometimes, one player changed the psychology of an entire match. And Brazil was slowly falling into that trap. They still looked in control. But mentally, the pressure had already started building. That's when something happened that almost nobody noticed during the live broadcast. And in my opinion, that was the real beginning of Brazil's elimination. Not the goal, not the celebration, not the final whistle. This small moment completely changed the confidence of both teams. Once Norway realized Brazil could be hurt, everything changed. The energy shifted. The belief grew. Every tackle became stronger. Every counterattack looked more dangerous. Every Brazilian mistake became slightly bigger. Suddenly, The team that everyone expected to dominate looked uncomfortable. Not because Norway had more possession, not because Brazil lacked talent, but because every Norwegian attack carried something far more dangerous than possession: belief. And that's the moment this match truly became fascinating. Because football has never been decided by reputation. It's decided by who handles pressure better. Brazil had all the expectations. Norway had absolutely nothing to lose. That changes everything. The longer the game stayed alive, the more dangerous Haaland became. You could almost feel it every time he started a run. The Brazilian backline dropped a little deeper. Every time he received the ball, the stadium held its breath. Not because he had already scored, but because everyone knew he could. That's the difference between great strikers and players who change entire tournaments. One creates chances, the other creates fear. Now here's where this story becomes controversial. After the match, millions of fans immediately focused on the goals, the highlights, the celebrations, the final score. But I think they're looking at the wrong moment, because, in my opinion, Brazil didn't lose confidence after Haaland scored. They started losing confidence when they realized they couldn't control him. That's a completely different conversation. And if that's true, it changes the way we analyze this entire match. Think about it. How many times did Brazil hesitate to push their fullbacks forward? How many attacks ended earlier than expected because they were worried about Norway's counterattack? How many extra meters did Brazilian defenders run simply because Haaland was waiting behind them? Those moments don't appear on the scoreboard. They don't show up in possession statistics. They don't become viral clips. But coaches notice them immediately. Former defenders notice them immediately. Elite players notice them immediately. Because football isn't always won with the ball. Sometimes it's won inside your opponent's mind. And that's exactly why this performance is creating so much debate around the world. Some fans are saying this was simply another great game from Haaland. Others believe this was the night he officially announced himself as the player every national team fears the most. So let me ask you another question. If you had one match to save your country, one World Cup final, one opportunity to win everything, who are you choosing? Erling Haaland, Kylian Mbappe, Vinicius Jr., or someone else? I have a feeling the answers today are very different from what they would have been just a week ago. And that's exactly why this match matters so much. Because sometimes, a single performance doesn't just change a tournament, it changes public opinion across the entire football world. But believe it or not, the biggest moment of this game still hadn't arrived. Because what happened next turned a brilliant performance into one of the most unforgettable World Cup nights in recent memory. And trust me, you don't want to miss that part. If you're enjoying this breakdown, and you love deep football analysis, instead of just watching highlights, make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, and join this community. We cover the biggest stories in world football, with analysis, debate, and the details that most people miss. Now, let's get to the moment that changed everything. And before we end this video, there is one thing I almost forgot to mention. Since the final whistle, football experts have been saying something incredibly interesting. Most of them aren't talking only about Haaland's 2 goals. They're talking about everything that happened before those goals. Several analysts believe Brazil never found a real tactical answer to stop him. Others have pointed out that Norway's discipline, patience, and ability to attack at exactly the right moments completely changed the flow of the match. Even former players have warned England not to underestimate Norway in the quarterfinals, because when Haaland gets even one clear opportunity, he can decide an entire World Cup match by himself. And maybe that's the biggest lesson from this game. Football doesn't always reward the team with the biggest stars. It rewards the team that executes its plan when the pressure is at its highest. Now the question belongs to you. Was this simply the greatest performance of Erling Haaland's international career? Or are we witnessing the beginning of a new era in world football? I want to read every opinion in the comments. If you're from Brazil, tell me what went wrong. If you're from Norway, tell me where this historic victory ranks in your country's football history. And if you're supporting another nation, tell me one thing. After watching this match, who is your favorite to win the 2026 World Cup? If you enjoyed this analysis and want more in-depth football stories, tactical breakdowns, and World Cup coverage, Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. We're just getting started. The World Cup is far from over. And if this tournament has taught us anything, it's that history can change in just 90 minutes. I'll see you in the next one.